Shutterstock Music.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Black College Experience APCU Sports Podcast. I am Derek Thomas, one half of your Black College Experience team, and we have with us in Atlanta the founder and CEO of Black College Experience, the one and only Keisha Kelly.
Hello, everybody. It's Keisha over in Atlanta. It's nice and hot. I'm pretty sure it's nice and hot over in Baton Rouge. We have a great lineup today on what's going on and recapping in sports. Somewhere in the second half of the show, we are going to have Ashley Williams, which is the daughter of Doug Williams. She's going to come on and talk about the Doug Williams youth camp that is coming up on this Saturday in Baton Rouge at the Doug Williams Stadium. I did talk to Ashley earlier, so just to let people know, there's a 500 cap, and as of earlier, they had 464 kids registered. So yeah, it's really going along well.
Yes, indeed, and thanks to you, I'm going to get a chance to be on site and watch the campers in action. Hopefully, get some interviews from some of the counselors, and just be a part of the Doug Williams football camp. I want to again thank you for that opportunity, Kels.
No problem.
So what's going on in Atlanta? And I don't even know if it's hot. I've been inside in the AC all day. So, but I've been seeing your workout videos. Girl, you pumping that iron over there.
Pumping iron. And people don't know. Like I've been. People think it's something new. I've actually been in the gym training since 2000. I've been in the gym training since 2004. Mm-hmm. I've been in the gym training too. So it's nothing new. It's just like I started back out, but it is. It's the pumping. I call it the shredding season. You're trying to get back to a normal, and football season is coming up, and we know how the sidelines can be, and just winded. So I'm trying to get back to that boxing routine, that weights, and it is. And I do. I tend to go a little bit higher, a little bit harder. But it's just what I'm used to. It's exactly what I'm used to. So
I saw you doing your little curls. What was it, a 35-pound weight you was doing?
It was.
Yeah, look at you pumping, making them muscles.
It was.
So it's been, of course, with the summer comes, the slow time. We don't have any classes in session. Not as much sports news, but of course, we try to find what we can and also actually create some topics to talk about during this time. And of course, we know football season is fast approaching. We're at the end of June. Then July 1st is tomorrow. Then we're going to have Independence Day, where everybody's going to be shooting fireworks and eating barbecue. And then media days start in July. Kels, you're going to be a very, very, very busy HBCUB with all the media days that you're going to be covering.
Absolutely. And I'm super excited because they kick off on next Tuesday. After the holiday week, it will be SEAC Media Day, and then the following week will be SWAC Media Day. So I'll be over in Birmingham. So I'm super excited. Just to be a part of that, and just to say, hey, I'm going to get to engage and, get a chance to go out and meet these athletes. Because once again, I haven't done a SWAC Media Day since 2016. So to get back to it is pretty exciting. And, to get down there and get to see the commissioner and get to see some of the people, it'll be pretty exciting.
I agree with you, and hopefully one day I will be able to participate in a media day one day. But anything local, I will definitely try and get to, and especially when I go home on the weekends to provide coverage at Jackson State University. Hopefully I'll be able to secure media credentials from my good friend Ashley, who's the AD at Jackson State, a Valley graduate. So it's going to be an exciting start to the football season. We got a lot of transfers, big name transfers coming in to HBCUs. Not just the SWAC, but the MEAC has had their fair share of transfers. Even some Division II schools have had some transfers. So it's going to be an exciting year in HBCU football. And we also won some recruiting battles with some of the Power 5 and Group of 5 schools. And the momentum is starting to swing. We've talked about this on several occasions. And like last week we talked about, and before that a couple of times, should the high-profile athletes start choosing HBCUs? And I think they should. And I think this year we're going to see what Jalen Jones does at Jackson State. And he's going to hopefully be at Jackson State for the next 3 to 4 years if he earns the starting quarterback position. Of course, that's the big time 4-star transfer from Florida. And of course, your Southern Jaguars, and of course the Grambling State Tigers, Alabama A&M, Alabama State. Everybody's been getting in the transfer game, especially with that transfer portal becoming more prevalent. Of course, the NCAA passing some legislation to try and cramp down on transfers, but it doesn't hinder us because you can transfer down and play immediately. So, I think that's going to be something that's going to keep flowing. The flow of transfers to HBCUs, I think it's going to be something that we're going to continue to see as these players become impatient with sitting on the bench. So come on down to the HBCU land, showcase your talent, and we can start getting multiple first-round draft picks coming out of HBCUs again, like we had in the old days of HBCU football dominance. I know that's something you would love to see, Kels, and it will bring a buzz to HBCUs that we just haven't had in quite a while.
Right. Absolutely. All
right, so let's go ahead and get this show off the road. We got a few topics we want to talk about. First up, we're going to start off in the SWAC. We'll come back to the general news. On the Bluff, Kels, I knew this was going to happen. When you have two coaches who had the seasons that Coach Jackson and Coach Funches had, you knew at the end of year one, they had to get an extension and a raise. And that's what happened. The Board of Supervisors approved contract extensions for women's basketball coach Carlos Funches and baseball coach Kerrick Jackson. Both Funches received extensions through the 2023 season, along with additional compensation to their respective base salaries. Jackson's contract includes a 2-year extension through 2022 with an option for 2023. In his first season as head coach, Funches guided the women's basketball team to a 20-12 record and led Southern to the program's third Southwestern Athletic Conference regular season title. Southern captured the first SWAC tournament championship in a decade and sent Funches, a Mississippi native, and the Jaguars to Starkville for the women's tournament, the fifth appearance in program history. And we know what Coach Jackson did. He a complete and utter turnaround from his first season and from previous seasons as the Jaguar program was rebuilt this year, and beat up on the Tigers on the Bluff and won the SWAC championship, snatching it away in, well, I won't say snatch. They straight beat down their opponent over SWAC East champion Alabama State, and then gave Mississippi State a run for their money in the College Baseball World Series Regional in Starkville. Coach Jackson and Coach Funches, these two gentlemen, Kels, talk about what their jobs that they did this past year coaching your Jaguar athletes meant to you and just means to Southern overall, and just getting Southern back on top where you probably feel they should be in everything.
Well, when you start talking about a turnaround season, and, we've had these conversations over the weeks, and, a lot of times you have people that are just impatient. And I think I listened to Coach Odoms. As a matter of fact, it was a year and a day ago when I heard Coach Odoms come down to Atlanta, and he had this conversation. And I remember him saying, we can't be mad at other schools or other teams for winning because it was just their season. And when he said that was last June 29, 2018, he specifically said, this is going to be our season to beat Grambling. And you see it happen. So in hindsight, we can't be mad at other teams for having their season. That was their season. But this year was strictly Southern season, basketball, baseball, to do what they had to do. And again, we talk about the APR, and we talk about where we were, and the limited scholarships, and you talk about how the students work. It's monumental when you see a turnaround like that. And even though it's like all media for me and it's all sports, and it's like, when it's your school, it's an overwhelming feeling when you see a school program turn around like that. And not only do you go through the regular season, win the regular season, but then you go on, you win the tournament championship, and then you get a bid to even go and play in these other games and these other tournaments. So it's a wonderful feeling to see that, and you only hope that they can continue to build. But it's one of those things that you have to go season by season by season. And people tend to, it's just the media way. You have to do a prediction or say who's going to come out first based on their last season. But I think it's always good to see what's going to happen. Texas Southern is always going to be one of those people that give you a run for the money no matter where they are. I tell people, I've been watching Alabama State since I was knee-high to a tree. So I've been watching Alabama A&M, Alabama State, basketball, baseball, football, all of that since I was a kid. And, Alabama State has always been one of those teams. They have been a thorn. But to beat them out was a great feeling. And just to see, like I said, again, to see the seasons turn around for baseball and basketball, because, again, I've watched them play basketball and stuff all over the years. So to see it end like that, and I always say Alabama State is the most complete program in athletics, and we can look at the Commissioner Cup. So, it was a great feeling. Absolutely was a great feeling.
Exactly. I want to welcome my line brother, Patrick Perry, on. What's going on, PP?
Trying to stay cool, man.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You have any HBCU news you want to share with us since you're on with us tonight?
Not really. It's something I want to talk about, but I forgot about it. Go ahead.
All right, maybe it'll come back to you. But next up, I want to talk about a young man who I got a chance to meet a long time ago when he was a student at Callaway. And he's now a member of the Jackson State University football program. And he's also the SGA president for Jackson State. And he's a graduate of my high school, Callaway High School in Jackson, Mississippi. And that is Jordan Jefferson. Very rarely will you see an athlete be so involved in student politics. But, things haven't been rosy for Jefferson on the football field. He redshirted his freshman year, got injured. He had to wait over 1,000 days to suit up in the blue and white, which, he's probably dreamed about playing in Jackson State blue and white for a lot of his life because his father is a former assistant at Jackson State. But while he waited his time to contribute on the football field, he's been contributing in other ways on Jackson State's campus. Like I just said, he's the new SGA president. He's a member of the Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International. He's a political science major, the Fannie Lou Hamer Pre-Law Society, and of course Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Jackson State Honors Health Club, and the JSU Pre-Alumni Council, and the NAACP. This is a young man who is on his way. He may not have a future in football, but he has a future in life because the life lessons that he's going to learn on that football field, continue to learn on that football field, and the educational lessons that he's going to learn with everything that he's involved in, it's just going to help him as he pursues his career in law. This young man, I think he was the valedictorian. I mean, he's always been an academician. So for him to be, and he was a good athlete in high school as well. So he's always been a person that could, survive in both fields. You don't see that a lot in today's world. It's very minute. I was a person, I played football, but I wasn't a good athlete. I was more studious. So I only had the best of one world. Mr. Jefferson has the best of both worlds, and yet he is a talented athlete, and he is going to be a contributor on the football field for Jackson State this year, and he's going to continue to contribute to the student population. And when he graduates, I'm pretty sure he's going to contribute to society with the career path that he's shown. I just want to highlight him because, of course, he went to my high school. He's doing big things, and I'm hoping he has an injury-free year. And I can't wait to see some of the changes that he makes on campus at Jackson State University. Maybe when he graduates, maybe we can just get his dad on to talk about his son exploits, since his dad is a former coordinator for Jackson State University. So, Kels, what do you think about students who excel in the classroom and on the gridiron?
I mean, that's the main thing, is that school is always going to be the first thing, and if you don't make it in the classroom, then you're not going to make it on the field. You shouldn't even be eligible. Most coaches, if we can go back to Coach Ruffin is a prime example of a coach that pushes academics before athletics. And he made it very plain that if you're not performing in the classroom, then you won't play on the field. So I think a lot of times students don't realize that you're a student before you're an athlete. And then you understand you come to school for education, and your extracurricular, your sport is second nature, and then you have to maintain your grades in order to continue to play whatever your sport is. So I think it's awesome when we see graduations where you see 30, 40, 50, 60 kids coming out, and they're coming out with 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 5s, 3 7s, whatever. You get 30, 40, 50 student athletes graduating. It says that every program is doing something right. They're matriculating and they're getting out of school.
Right. And, like I said, it's very rare that you see a student who can contribute on the football field and to the student government, and also to just academics in general. I mean, both at a very high level. And I know Jefferson has been waiting his time to contribute in blue and white. And I just can't wait to see what he does. And to all you other athletes out there who want to play college football, you have to get your grades up. I remember one time when I went to my high school to a football game, and I was talking to some of the young men, and I was like, well, why aren't y'all playing? Well, we're ineligible. I was like, well, don't you want to play football in college? Well, yeah. I was like, well, you can't play if you don't make the grades. So if you want to have a future playing football in college, even if you don't have a future playing pro, if you want to contribute to your college football, basketball, baseball, softball, or any sport where you have to be eligible academically, you have to get the grades together. You have to have the grades, because there is no sense in trying to play a sport if you're not going to get the grades together. And I want to say congratulations to Mr. Jefferson. He's definitely showing you how you should attack a life as a college student athlete by ensuring that you handle things in the classroom, and your natural ability on the athletic court or field will handle itself. So kudos to Mr. Jefferson. Also, up next, we had the son of a HBCU advocate, HBCU graduate, and then taking over for Tom Joyner morning show, Ricky Smiley. His son, Malik Smiley, Kills, and I saw you post this, committed to Alabama State. And we know Ricky Smiley loves his Alabama State. He talks about the Hornets all the time, and the young man played basketball at IMG in Florida. We know IMG in Florida is an elite private school for athletes to go and try to continue their athletic careers and get their grades right. And this young man chose Alabama State. The only thing I couldn't really find his stats, but I'm pretty sure if he was good enough to play at IMG, he's definitely a talented athlete and definitely going to be a great addition to the Alabama State Hornet family. And also, with Ricky Smiley being the HBCU advocate that he is, I'm pretty sure, Alabama State's going to be glad to have Ricky Smiley being a booster for Alabama State. So, Kels, what do you think about Ricky Smiley's son committing to play in the SWAC at Alabama State?
I think I'm not surprised that he committed to Alabama State in particular, because Ricky is connected, and that's where Ricky was. He is a big proponent of Alabama State. I think it is a great thing. Of course, like we always say, the game has to be played, so we'll see where that ends. But I think it was a great thing for him to commit. And hopefully we get more people committing to our schools, basketball, baseball, whatever it may be. We're starting to see, as they say, a shift, but we're starting to see a turn of the tide. And I'm not just talking about baseball or football. I'm talking about baseball, basketball, track and field. We're starting to see a turn of the tide of these athletes are actually considering these HBCUs.
Exactly.
And I could be none more the merrier when I see these things happen, when I see them start considering, these schools. And oftentimes I do, people look at, oh, it's a HBCU, and they look at it like it's lesser. And I'm just like, I really can't understand why you would consider us lesser when 3 hours at Alabama is 3 hours at Southern University. 3 hours at LSU is 3 hours at Alabama A&M. So the credit hours don't change. And, one thing, and I don't know, I didn't even know this. Y'all can tell me yay, nay. I didn't even know this. And you're in Louisiana, Patrick's in Mississippi. So I didn't realize that on game day for LSU, it's like a lottery. Everybody can't go to like the big games. So say it's an Alabama and LSU. Everybody can't go to those games.
You're talking about as far as students?
As far as what?
As far as students?
Yes.
Yes, it is a lottery. It is for games like that. I mean, there's no way they're going to come into every single student.
Like I didn't know that, and that's so crazy. And I'm like, it's a lottery. So our only concern at HBCUs is like, bro, we got to get there early if we're a student, so we have somewhere to sit.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know if they're gonna even get to go. And I'm like, I didn't pay for this in my tuition, so it's a lot of different things. I didn't even realize that until somebody told me that Friday. I said, that's crazy. But that's those are the things that we get to we don't have to deal with and think about. And I know it's a big game and it's crazy and it's a lot of camaraderie, but that's just one of those instances where you just like, okay, here's another thing I can check off the list that I don't have to worry about at one of those schools. I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of wild. But I mean, I guess when you look at, I guess you can say the TV time and possible money invested in that game, perhaps why. But I'm like this here. If I pay for a ticket, let me go to the game. You know what I'm saying? But I guess they don't want, every student to go to every game, and another student can't go. So I guess they try to make it fair. But like you said, Kels, at an HBCU, we don't have to worry about that right now. We don't have to worry about that. I mean, we can just go to the game and see our team play, whether we win or lose. We get to go and fellowship and bask in the ambiance of hearing our HBCU bands play our fight songs, seeing the cheerleaders perform, seeing the mascots running crazy on the field, and just getting a chance to witness just the atmosphere of HBCU football, because there's nothing like it. I mean, there's just nothing like the atmosphere of an HBCU football game everywhere. I mean, like even the smaller HBCUs, they put on a show. So there's nothing like HBCU football. I kind of wish some of these TV networks would showcase our HBCUs more. No, we're not sponsored by the big trophy or whatever that they want to put all the money behind, but our brand of football is just as valuable and just as good and just as exciting. And then you have the entertainment value of the bands to back with the football, to package with the football, not back, to package with the football, and then you just have a total package, a total entertainment package. And I kind of wish one of these TV networks would really, really see the value and, not just showcase the football game, but also show the halftime shows. Show that.
Right.
One thing that burns me up is when I'm watching our HBCU games on ESPN online or ESPN on TV. They don't show our halftime shows. Another thing that burns me up is the trophy presentations. They say it's going to be shown on ESPN, but it's never shown. Never get a chance
and I
to
think
see
that's,
it.
I think that's one of the things that we go into. You know, it used to be a point in time where they, like, Bayou Classic, you could get the halftime show. Even if they came in, like, late 2 minutes, you could at least get the last 7 minutes or 8 minutes so you can get the second part of it. You got the halftime show. You might just miss the first song, but they would give you the second half. And then you would get the other band. Like, you would actually see what's going on. And truth be told, that's what most people are watching the game for. When it's halftime, we want to see a show. And I don't care what HBCU it is, we want to see a show. So I think we need, we got to get back to that. And that's the conversation that we're having. How do we get to one, a network? How do we get to showing our schools? Mm-hmm. How do we choose what teams are playing? Because honestly, again, I don't care what teams it is, as long as you're able to show and showcase these HBCUs. You got athletics, then you got the bands, you got all of this stuff that's surrounding the actual game. And I give you a prime example. You got the MEAC SWAC Challenge coming up here on September 1 here in Atlanta at Georgia State. You got Bethune-Cookman and you got Jackson State, and the camaraderie so far has been really great. So what they do is on Fridays, twice a month, I want to say, they do this thing called Kickoff Fridays. And Friday, I got a chance to actually go over and meet with Executive Director John Grant, meet with some of the rest of them, and their focus was Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman. I'm over here in the corner talking trash to FAMU. So
I saw that.
We
saw you
over
post
here,
about
we in here.
that.
And I did. I grabbed them, and John was like, I said, no, John, you come get in the picture too, because I need you to understand that when the trash talking starts, it ain't going to stop. So it's just a good thing. And, they talk about the kickoff, and it's like more exposure. But I think we definitely have to do more stuff, more things to bring that to the forefront. And like you said, stop cutting the band off. The band is a part of the game. That's a part of the game day. Stop cutting them off.
Exactly. And, if anybody from ESPN hears this, listen to Keisha Kelly. She's telling you right, because right now ESPN has first broadcast rights of our games. And we've been talking about the games in our social media groups that they're going to broadcast. And the games that they don't broadcast sometimes be some of the most impactful and packed games. And it's kind of weird to me how ESPN will choose to broadcast a game that's not sold out, but a game that's packed to the max is not shown. And it makes us look bad as HBCU football fans, where there's a half-empty stadium being broadcast on ESPN, and then there's one game that's like absolutely packed to the max, where you can showcase that and people be like, wow, those HBCU football fans really love their football.
Let's go ahead and take a commercial break, because Ashley just texted me and said she's calling in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back with more Black College Experience after 31 seconds.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's gonna happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, we're back with more Black College Experience, and just waiting on Ashley Williams to give us a call. And here we're talking about, HBCUs being broadcast on TV, and of course, last week we talked about the HBCUs. I think the SWAC Kels won the FCS attendance championship. I'm thinking, yes, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Yeah. So,
correct.
So that's awesome, because we know back in the day it was no question who was going to win the attendance crown for 1AA, as it was called back then, and we're still winning the attendance crown in FCS. LB, what do you think about how our games are being broadcast? I mean, I'm pretty sure you watch your fair share of HBCU football games on TV. What do you think about the presentation? What do you think needs to be done to improve? Because I know you have a strong opinion about fundraising because I know me and you have a battle back and forth about Valley Scoreboard. But what do you think about how HBCUs can improve their exposure, or how ESPN could choose certain games to showcase HBCUs in a better light?
Yeah, as far as halftime shows, all you got to do is just get a sponsor. That's easy. You can fix that by getting a sponsor. Get somebody, McDonald's or whatever, come in, say, okay, show the, what is it? If you can't show it on TV, show it on ESPN3, the full halftime show for both teams. That's the problem solved right there, because that's it. That when they did that for the Celebration Bowl last year, it created a big hoopla or whatever, because you showed barely 30 seconds of each. Man, that was...
Yeah, they didn't show hardly any of the halftime show.
Yeah, as far as, we need to, you got to look outside of the ESPN circle. I mean, that's just being honest, you know what I'm saying? Because not every game can get on TV, so you got to start looking at the other places like Stadium or
BET, Flow Sports. Flow Sports is good, but but they are strictly online medium, and of course they're going to charge.
Oh, then you got what is it? You got what is it? I'm trying to see who was that? LL and LL Cool J and Ice Cube, whatever. Trying somebody or rappers got some TV networks or whatever, sport networks, so you can explore that possibility. Since they are getting into the sports arena, so yeah, we got to start looking outside of the ESPN circle and just do what we can to get our sports out there any way possible.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think she's on.
Yes, our guest is on, so Kels, take the floor.
Okay. Okay, so we have Gremlin Night on the phone. Ashley Williams. So I asked Ashley to call in to talk about this Doug Williams camp that's coming up on this weekend. And like I said, just to hear how many students have already registered is just crazy amazing. And of course, Ashley Williams is Doug Williams' daughter. So, Ashley.
Hey, Keith. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so
how
we
you
know
doing,
you got.
Ms. Williams?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What's your name?
This is Derek Thomas.
Hi, Derek Thomas.
How you doing?
I'm great. Tired, but I'm good. I had a weekend wedding yesterday, so I'm in recovery mode, but I'm good. And
now you have another busy weekend coming up, so so I'm gonna let Kels take over and interview you about the camp. So go ahead, Kels. I'm gonna shut up now.
No, that's fine. Okay, so we know you told me earlier 464. So let's kind of back it back. Tell us about this camp, how it got started, and how you're bringing the camp back.
Well, the camp used to go on years ago through BREC. And the person that carried that camp through BREC is no longer with BREC. So the camp hasn't actually happened in about 4 to 5 years. And I have been wanting to bring this camp back for years. I just didn't know how he would feel about it, being that he's, traveling so much. He's not here. So if I brought it back, then I would be the person, who would be over it, along with those who would be helping me. So it was like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Being that I'm working, I'm coaching, my kids are involved in sports. Would I have the time? I'm really nervous, but I brought it back. It will be happening on the 6th. We did talk about the 500 limit that I wanted for this year, and that was just because it's the first year. I wanted to see how it goes, and actually, we have reached the 500 mark.
Oh, really?
We have reached that 500 mark. We reached it today.
When I talk to you.
Yes,
I just told
this
somebody
one I
about the
talked
camp.
to you. since when I talked to you, we had the 500 mark. It's registration is done for
Oh
for this
man.
camp.
Well, I'm
So,
probably
I
gonna
said,
get.
I was like, you going exactly. I said you was gonna get the people. Then I was like, you gonna get the stragglers tomorrow. No, you're not gonna get no stragglers tomorrow.
I'm
You're not
probably
gonna get
gonna
nobody
get.
tomorrow.
I'm probably gonna get blessed out now. I just sent a mom who I just saw her son post about a football camp, and I was like, well, can you take 501, please?
I mean, like, I knew that we would probably have walk-ups, but because this is, like, I also started a foundation in his name as a nonprofit organization because my goal and my purpose is to serve not only the underprivileged, but I want all individuals, all high school, all young athletes to be able to flourish in this world. Like, whether you are rich or whether you are poor, whether you are in the suburbs, I don't care because we all have struggles somewhere. And it's a lot of kids, a lot of parents who do not know different things that are supposed to happen before they go to college. While they are in college, especially with the eligibility and the academic part of it, you have those parents who just don't know. So that's my goal with this organization. That the camp will be an annual event, of course, but the organization we will do tutoring, we will do ACT prep, financial literacy. This is my goal. I mean, it's so much. I know.
So, yeah, I'm saying you tied in more things. Like, I didn't realize the camp was going to be, and I think it's in the same facet. Like, you start off with one thing, and everything just kind of grows, and you kind of expand to do other things. Which, Lord, it sounds like the same thing we did with Black College Experience. It started off as one thing, and Lord knows we didn't expand it to like 10 different things. I think
right.
Especially when you start talking about underprivileged and you talk about things in the community, and we all know, each one of us on this phone, we know the one thing that ties us together is either music, food, or sports. That's the three things that's going to tie us together. Those three things will tie us together every single time. So you give us some music, some food, or some sports, no matter what it is, it's going to tie us together. And I think that's a good thing because I hear a lot of people, not even just out of Baton Rouge, out of Atlanta, out of different places say, you know, it was sports or it was a summer league or it was a camp or it was something to that nature that kept me out of trouble.
Right.
Yes,
So, yeah, it's my hope. It's my dream. I've been harping on it for years, but I finally made the move. So, I'm nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm ready.
So talk to us about
That
some
just
of
says that that means that that just means that your dream is big enough, because if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. You're supposed to be scared. You're supposed to be.
So talk to us about some of the guests who are going to be helping out with your camp.
Yeah, of course my dad will be there, and he, of course, reached out to Darius Geis, Landon Collins, and Danny Johnson, who are all a part of course, the Redskins, which is his organization, the organization that he works for. My brother, DJ Williams, who also played at Grambling and is now a coach with the New Orleans Saints, and also Ken Andio, who also played at Grambling, and he does a lot of training for the athletes in this area and NFL players he has trained as well. We will have area high school coaches that will also lead former players, whether you went to, I think we have a little Grambling Southern, a mixture of people from the area that I thought would be a great, because we see this is our area, these are our kids, so it was just something to use the high school area coaches, because these are the kids that they will see. Eventually, these high school coaches may see these first or sixth graders that they don't teach already. So coach already, not teach, but some of them teach, but some of them coach as well. And it was a good opportunity to utilize them as well. So the camp, a little bit how the camp will run, first through sixth grade, and then you'll have your big kids, 7th through 12th. that'll go after, and in between we'll do an intermission where my dad will kind of talk, and we will show the football life, because we wanted to show that it's not all glory. It's not all glory to get there. You have to go through something and adversity to get to the point of the glory day. And a lot of kids of this generation, they do not know who my dad is. They know of uncles or of that sort, but they don't actually know who he is and what he actually went through, because it wasn't all glory in the beginning, and he didn't make the money that they make now. So, they look at that, oh, I get it all the time, your dad is rich, and no, baby, he's not, the Russell Wilson of the game, but sometimes I wish he did, but he didn't. He came up through an era that it was a lot of adversity versus now. He kind of paved the way for those guys, not just him, but it was a lot of kids under him. I mean, a lot of men under him and before him, but he just showed that you can go. You can go that way no matter where you come from, no matter your race. You can win it all, too. So, they just need to know all of that.
Right, because he does have the distinction of being the first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I mean, I've watched that footage over and over and over and over. Like, wow, he had just an amazing game. And I know your dad's not going to remember this, but I actually met him a long time ago when Grambling came to Valley to beat us like a drum. For some odd reason, your dad was walking along Highway 82. I pulled. I said, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know who he was at the time when I pulled over, and he was like, "No, I'm just taking a walk." And I was like, wow. When I got up, I said, "Oh, you're Doug Williams. You're Grammys coaching Washington Redskins legend." He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, I've seen the footage of what you did with the Redskins." And I mean, I'm a Valley graduate, so I really don't want y'all to win today. But of course, we know what your dad did playing for Grambling and coaching at Grambling, the multiple SWAC championships. I mean, he has been a winner at every level of his life and career, high school, college, pro football, and now a winner at giving back, and also creating opportunities for HBCU athletes to accomplish what he accomplished, is get their foot into the NFL and stay. So letting those kids know who he is definitely going to be an eye opener for them, because he's a trailblazer. Your father, your father is a Black history icon, and he's a living legend in African American culture and also HBCU football culture. So I mean, you have the distinction of saying that. So I know that makes you proud.
It does, but what's so funny is it's kind of still it's still growing on me. Like, I'm 36, and I was 5 at the time, but I actually did not watch this game until I was in college. Everybody talks about it. It was always the second quarter performance. So, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I know he won the Super Bowl, but it wasn't like, that's just my daddy. I know he's this and he's that to y'all, but I never even really, one day I sat down and I was at work and I was on my break and I YouTubed it and I sat and I watched it and I was like, oh my God. And it was at that moment that it hit me and was like, man, this dude really my daddy. Like, I said it in my head, this dude is really my daddy. Like, I see why people harp on it, but being his daughter, it was kind of hard because I will never have him to myself, but I do see let me just find the word for it. I do see what he does for everybody else and what he does for the little kids. You're always going to have those naysayers in whatever you do. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's always a naysayer. And even like being his daughter, I would read when he was coaching and when he was this, I would just read little comments that would have me furious. But, I know, my grandmother always told me, baby, if they talked about Jesus, they going to talk about anybody else. I said, you're right. That always comes back in my mind. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're good, whether you're bad. Somebody's always going to have something negative to say. But there's always those that give him that glory, like you did that. Like, I hear it all the time. I watched your dad when he went through that. I mean, I didn't even like the Redskins at that point in time, and I was just in awe when he did that. And he is still a good guy. Every time I hear negative, there's always 5 positives that come behind it. And I say, you know what? This is the way of the world, and this is how we got. It's just it. But there is always some good in everything that somebody is doing. So I was like, it has to be something that I have to do for our community, because he's from here. He's from Zachary, the Baton Rouge surrounded areas, and he has taught, coached a lot of the males in this area. My child's basketball coach's wife, she was like, girl, I just got to talk to you, because I didn't know who you were. But when I found out who, I was like, I was going to tell her, your daddy is the reason why I went to Graham. And I was like, he was? You didn't play football? He was like, no. He was like, I didn't, but I came to Graham. I was going to go somewhere else. And she was like, he was talking to her mom, and he told her, look, I need her to be my tutor, and I'm going to get her paid, and this is going to be her work study and all of this. And she ended up coming to Grambling, being one of the football tutorers, and she graduated like summa cum laude, and she's here now, and she's doing big things. And I was like, wow, like it just wasn't football. It just wasn't males that played football. It was other people that he also inspired and talked to. And I hear it all the time, man, I went to Graham because of your dad and this and that. So I was like, I got to do something. I got to do something to preserve his name, because he is that dude, as they say. He's that dude.
Yes, he is. And I'm just reading his bio, and this is something that I never knew. I mean, I knew about the issues with Jace Roder from watching and reading up on him, but I never knew he was 4th in the Heisman Trophy voting. So that's something we're gonna have. You're gonna have to, get him on the show so we can, ask him these questions. One day when he's available, because I mean, he has a story to tell. Not only through a football life, but just also his own story. I mean, maybe he needs to, I don't know, has he thought about writing a book? Or has he written a book?
Well, he hasn't. There is a book out about him that's been out for a while. It's called Quarterback. I'm not sure if you've ever read it or heard about it, but it's been out for a long time. But a lot of people still have not heard about it. But it's called Quarterback, and it's about him.
Oh, I'm gonna check that
and
out.
My mom. You can Google it. It's on Amazon. It's really cheap now. I guess because people didn't really know about it, but it's not a high book to even purchase. But yes, it's called Quarterback.
Yes, and I think that's awesome. I mean, your dad has done so much, and not just professionally, but just personally. And as a child of a legend, I mean, you have every right to be angry when you have someone speak negative about your father, because he's your dad. You don't see him as a football player. He daddy. So you're gonna be ready to stand up and defend him, no matter what, because to us, he's a football legend. To you, he's dad. So people need to, if they're gonna criticize Doug Will, they need to make sure that you're not around.
I mean, it does. I've grown to a point and to accept that people are going to be people. People have personal vendettas for whatever reason that it is. It may not have anything to do with football. They overlook what he has done or the positive and everything that he has done just to find a negative. So I've outgrown that part of getting mad and cursing somebody out and going back and forth. I'm not that person. I kind of just laugh and look and say, it's a shame that it's always your own people who bring you down the most. and and I see it all the time, but it's not everybody, so I can't say all, but there's always 1, 2, or 3 out of the 10 that always have something negative to say. But when you know better, you do better. So that it doesn't bother me. I think I got the most flack when he was at Grambling coaching. That was hard because I hadn't got out of that those ignorant days. I was still in those days. So it was a lot of arguing and but after that it was just, hey, you gotta let that be, and that's where I am with it today.
All right, Kels.
And I do, and I told you this before. Like I did. I've had a chance to listen to your dad during Bayou Classic when we did the luncheon. So I got a chance to actually sit in on the coach's luncheon, which was long, but we got a chance to sit there and listen to that. And that's when they actually did they were doing the jackets. And I think for Coach Robinson, they did a red jacket. And I always say you find coaches, but you do not find coaches like Doug that has that passion, that fire for HBCUs. And I oftentimes, as I will do once we're off the song, I go back and I listen to him say, and I don't care how many times I watch a documentary, I'll watch it 30 more times, listening to him say the importance of why we need our HBCUs. And I'm like, people really don't understand who he is and the caliber of what he said and how important it is. And I'm like, we're preaching it. All of us are preaching it. But to hear him say it because we know where he came from, and it's just one of those things where you like, okay, seriously, y'all, like, are y'all really listening to? I've never seen a person go to bat of his caliber that hard. Because, like you said, it's dad to you, but to the rest of you, like, okay, this Doug Williams, like. I'd be on the sidelines at Bayou Classic, like, all right, you can't get too, okay, my bad, I won't get too close. All right, my bad, I'll go the opposite direction. No pictures, okay, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, no pictures. They had a little cops, like, right, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, we just like 2 feet apart. But it's just one of those things where I don't think people realize how important it is. And again, I think this is a really great thing. Again, I'm upset that I can't come, but Derek will be there in my presence.
Yes, right.
He'll be there in my absence. So but I think it's a great thing. And again, like, to know that you have this, you already reached you reached 500, and you probably got people that still lingering talking about, hey, can you no, because we the last minute people.
I hate to say no, but
yep.
I had to cut it off this year. This was the first year I had to cut it off.
Yep.
And just
you have to
see, yeah. And it was another, like I was telling me and the person who's running the camp for it, we were arguing. Because he was, which is Corey, which is one of his players, and he was like, Ashley, we could do walk-ups. And I say, Corey, I say we could. I say, but let me tell you something. I say, I also, not that I want to cut it off, but at the same time, we got to teach our people that we have deadlines. Like, I get this all the time. Like, at school, can I please have another day? No, if I gave you something 2 weeks, when I asked for it, that is when I need it, because it's not just about you. It's about, there are other people that I have deadlines for, so I have to give you a deadline so I can meet my deadline. If I keep extending it and telling you yes, what am I teaching you as a teacher? What am I teaching you about life? What am I teaching you as my people? We always trying to make excuses of why I didn't have this or why I didn't have that. But you're going to have people who going to walk up, I say, I know. I say, but I also had 400 and something other people that found a way to register their child. I say, so what do I tell those who did what they were supposed to do before the deadline just because I have these people over here who did not do what they were supposed to do to meet the deadline? There's a cutoff.
Yes, indeed.
And we have to learn as a people that we have deadlines to meet. I say, and I hate to do it. I say, but it's always my people that are always trying to find excuses of why they could not have done this, this, and that. And I said that we can't always have that. We can't always have that.
Exactly. LB, are you still on here, Patrick? People, you still on here?
Yeah.
I mean, you already know what I'm thinking about when she's talking about be on time, 12-inch rule, time value. So that is very important and there's nothing wrong with you having a cutoff like you were saying, because you have to have enough people to run the camp efficiently. So
Right.
you have enough staff to run it for 500 kids. If you did open it back up for walk-ups, then you have to have another session. You have to have another session for the people who are coming late. And I think it's good. You're teaching a valuable lesson. They just have to come for the next one. And be on time.
And that's what it's showing them, that they have to show up on time. So this is going to encourage them to do it on time next year. They're going to be like, okay, I missed it this year. Because, of course, everybody's going to see the pictures. They're going to see the media. They're going to see all the great things about it. And it's going to be like, well, dang, I wish I had signed up. Dang, I should have signed up earlier. If it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would get done. That's just how it is.
And what I didn't want is, just say we have 500 now, and we're a day and some hours before the deadline. I could have had 100 more kids walk up, and then I couldn't accommodate them, food-wise, shirts-wise, because everything was free. So everything, I'm working this totally off donations. This is not anything that was purchased or, I'm working, this is donations. People have donated, and the worst thing I could do is you walk up and you can't eat, or you can't have your shirt, because we harp on things like that. As a people, we harp on things like that. Not that, you can go ahead and get the experience. Well, he didn't even have enough shirts. For me, we do that. We find a negative, and even if it's all good, we still find a negative.
We're going to find
I was like, I don't want that to happen. There it is, to find a way, and I didn't want that.
Well, I know I'm thankful that you're putting it on, because the community needs this camp. It's going to give these young men and any young girls who may have registered a chance to get proper instruction and to get some knowledge, some Black history knowledge from, again, like I said, in the aforementioned, a Black college, a HBCU legend, someone that, you can look at their career and say, okay, he overcame the obstacles that was in his way. Some people who, at that time when he came into the NFL, the Black quarterback, even though we've made strides now, the Black quarterback was still a myth in the NFL. Your dad, with with those 4 touchdowns in that second quarter, showed that the myth was that the myth was gone. It was a reality. And slowly over the years, we've had other Black quarterbacks perform well in Super Bowls. Russell Wilson, even Cam Newton. I'm trying to think of some other ones that have gone. I can't think of their name now. Donovan McNabb, Steve McNair. Following in the footsteps of HBCU legend Doug Williams, Steve McNair. So now all we need now is for the NFL to give the next Doug Williams out of an HBCU a shot. And Kels, you already know who I'm going to bring up, Amir Hall. Ashley, I know your dad, the Redskins are dealing with a quarterback situation, but tell him to sign Amir Hall for me. Please, pretty please, tell him to sign Amir Hall. Please sign Amir Hall.
You have to tell him that when I try to stay out of those politics. You have to tell him that when you're I stay clear of those.
I'm just trying to be funny. That young man deserves a chance to prove himself on an NFL roster or an NFL training camp or practice squad. I've been trying to find. I haven't been able to find if he's going anywhere yet. But he's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm sorry, HBCU, 2-time Black College Player of the Year, and I'm pretty sure your dad knows who he is. So, if you let your dad listen to this show, if Dwayne Haskins bums out, and I'm also an Alex Smith fan because Alex Smith used to play for my Chiefs. If Alex Smith can't come and sign Amir Hall, I'll let him become Doug Williams Part 3 because his son is already junior. So, yes, I'm excited about the camp myself. I'm going to get a chance to be a part of it, and I'm going to be out there contributing, however, just as a covering for that college experience. If I can help serve food, if I can help bring water to a hot kid, I'm going out there being of service. to your camp. And anything else you do in Baton Rouge, Keisha has my contact information. If I can be of service, you got it.
I really appreciate it. And I love the way that you all push the HBCUs, because I am such an HBCU fanatic. I do it with my kids. I tell them all the time, while I'm at work, look, now, I don't care where you go. I love Grambling. That's why I hit them first. I love Grambling, but look, at HBCU, it's nothing like it. So y'all need to just look at that. It's not just about the LSU and all these schools. I'm like, I try to just change the whole conversation. I'm like, look, it's Southern, it's Grambling, it's whatever you want. They was like, you just went there because your dad. I say, no, honestly, I had other choices. I said, but let me tell you what, my daddy told me one thing. I don't care where you go, Ashley. You got 117 choices. Now, it took me a minute to know what he was saying, because I'm like, why he keep telling me this? What? They 117 choices. And I told that to somebody, and they was like, Ashley, because that's how many HBCUs. Oh, he telling me I can't go nowhere else. but he meant that. He meant that with everything in him. If my money is paying, it must be an HBCU. It's nothing else that I'm going to pay for. And he meant that with everything in him. Although, he was a part of me going to Grambling. I knew I didn't want to go to Southern. Everybody I knew was going to Southern. I just didn't want to be close to home. So then I ended up getting an academic scholarship and a softball scholarship. So, of course, I'm going where my education is going to be free. Why would I pay? And my dad said, so yes, I'm going. Yes, I'm going.
Actually, sure.
I got my master's from Southern, but I love me some Grambling.
Part Jaguar. So she Jag Tiger?
Yes, indeed. But before we
She
get
part
ready to get out of
Tiger,
here,
part Jaguar.
you kind of went into what I was going to ask you. Now, you played softball. Did you play any other sports at Grambling?
I tried out for the volleyball team, but softball was my thing. Volleyball was my second love, but softball that's my heart, put it like that. And I still play it to this day. Like when I get a chance on the weekend, I still play. I still play travel ball with adults.
So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have you back on to talk about your Black college experience, focusing on your career playing softball, because Keisha knows where I'm going to go with this. I'm a huge proponent of women's sports. I just love when women get a chance to compete and showcase their abilities in any sport, be it basketball, softball, tennis, golf, and who knows, we may have, I don't think we've ever had this, a woman play football at an HBCU. I think, have we had that yet, y'all? I don't think so. Have we?
No.
I don't think so. I haven't heard. I'm sure we would have heard about it now, but I haven't heard.
We're going to have to have you on, even if it's not during softball season, where we can focus on Ashley and not your dad, your career, your Black college experience, and just hear about some of your stories playing softball on the softball diamond. Because I'm one of the few who will go out to the softball games and watch the ladies play when I was in school. I had a couple sorority sisters that was on the softball team, but even if I wasn't a Sigma or they weren't my sorority sisters, I still would have went because I want to support women's sports. I've always been like that ever since I was a kid. I've always, watched men and women's sports. So we want to thank you.
That's my family. We softball and basketball people. I had a cousin play for Grambling and Southern basketball. So that's us. That's what we do.
Indeed. Well, we want to thank you for coming on and talking about the camp and sharing some stories about your dad. And I can't wait to meet you at the camp, and we can't wait to hear you come back on again in the future and talk about your Black college experience as a softball player for the Grambling State Tigers and how y'all roughed up on Southern all the time.
I'm pretty sure they roughed up on Mississippi Valley as well. I'm pretty sure they got Valley a few times too.
No,
don't do that.
no.
Let me see this. We did beat Valley, and I guess what? I pitched a no-hitter that game. We did. We didn't really beat Southern. Florida was like a powerhouse back then when I played, but we did beat Valley. I pitched that game. I sure did. I'm sorry.
Yes, indeed. But Ashley, drive safely,
sorry, but-
and I will see you Saturday. Keisha, go ahead and close
Yes,
us
sir.
out.
All right, so we do appreciate, again, Ashley for joining us. Thank you, Patrick, for joining us every week. Thank you for being that dedicated person. It's been a pleasure, Ashley. Again, I wish I could be there. I'll be there in spirit, but of course I know Derek will represent well when you see Black College Experience coming. Just know it's us. But I hope I wish you nothing but success on this next camp. And like you said, we definitely going to have y'all on so you can talk about how it was playing softball over at Grambling. That's the show, folks. Good night.
I
Keisha,
appreciate
Keisha, let everybody know we're gonna be out for a couple weeks. So
we're going ahead. We are. We taking a couple of weeks off. I got to attack media day, so I'm hitting media day on July 9th and July 16th. I'll start here at the Black College Football Hall of Fame for SEAC Media Day. I'll follow up the following week in Birmingham at SWAC Media Day. So it's going to kind of be, it might be some teams and some things dropped in between. I really hadn't decided. But, yeah, we definitely, because it slows down in the summertime, and we all know football season is what everybody waiting on.
Yeah, so make sure you follow us on our social media pages, Black College Experience, the Black College Experience on Facebook, Black College EXP, and Black College Experience on Instagram. So we'll let you know when we may have a special broadcast, because what Kel's doing, making the rounds in Media Day, we want to make sure we keep y'all in the know on interviews and content that we have. Again, this is Derek Thomas for Black College Experience. Yeah, Keisha Kelly, go ahead.
One time before we get out of here, for those that apply for the scholarship, we will have the scholarship announcement this week. For those two people that actually won, that will be announced on this week. We also will kick off the next T-shirts this week for the next T-shirt round. I got to kick that off because everybody keeps asking for the T-shirt. So it's about to be a chill season, but it's really about to still be a busy season going on. So yeah, we are definitely gonna kick that off.
All right. Well, we are out of here. Have a good night.
Good night.